That tops our intelligence briefing today. No better source for this briefing than my former congressional colleague Pete Hoekstra, who served as the chairman of the House Select Committee on Intelligence and who joins us live from Newsmax, Washington. Pete, it's good to have you back on America's Forum.
Hey, always good to be with you. Thanks, JD. Good morning, Miranda.
Lots going on around the world, but first, the CENTCOM hack attack. The FBI is now investigating. What are you hearing from your sources?
Well, I'm hearing that it very possibly might have been a group other than ISIS. That, number one, I was kind of surprised when ISIS was given credit for this attack. I wouldn't think that cyber would be one of the areas where they would be very good at. But there's also some signals out there that it could have been someone else that hacked into CENTCOM. But the bottom line is, what an embarrassment. Here we go once again with the people that should be best at cybersecurity, our military, the people affiliated with the national, with NSA, themselves the victim of Snowden. Here they now have another cyber breach. Maybe they're saying, hey, it's not national security, personal security, top secret info that was stolen. But the bottom line is someone broke in and they should not have been able to.
Well, Pete, defense officials, as you mentioned, say none of the information posted was classified. In fact, some of it they're saying was out of date. Clearly embarrassing. But is this a national security threat? In other words, how vulnerable is our nation to another cyber attack?
Oh, I think we're very, very vulnerable. Again, you don't have to go that, Snowden was not that long ago, which was probably the most significant cyber breach in the history of the world, and that was NSA. And when you started peeling back the layers on that, you realized how out of touch the NSA was in providing security for its own systems. And I've seen that throughout the intelligence community and throughout the military, that we've never brought that up to the kind of expectations that the American people have for our national security apparatus. I think we continue to be very, very vulnerable.
Pete, the question came up, why would CENTCOM need social media sites? Why would they have like a social media directory for their own military personnel? The media sites, are they there to benefit us in the PR battle against these guys?
I'm assuming that's what they'd be used for. They could be used to help benefit us in the PR battle against, the bad folks. It could also be used as a way for them to maintain communications with troops and those types of things. I don't think the issue here is why do they have Twitter or why do they have YouTube. Regardless, they are in cyberspace. They need to be there in one way or another. The bottom line is, where they were in cyberspace was a place that someone was able to go in and exploit and take over for 2 hours. That they shouldn't have been able to do that.
Pete, we want to move along now to Venezuela. Venezuela's president headed out on an overseas trip last week in search of cash to shore up the reeling economy, which has been hit extremely hard. His first stop, China, and he left with pledges of $20 billion in new investments. So what should we take away from this?
Well, number one, the old slogan that was in the House of Representatives, drill, baby, drill, was exactly the right strategy. The United States has put enough energy onto the market so that we've affected the global supply and we're helping to drive prices down, which really has made folks like Venezuela, Iran, and Russia extremely vulnerable. But in that situation, China is now moving in. China's seeing the United States occupied in the Ukraine. They're seeing us occupied with ISIS, and they're making a move to come into Central America, building the canal to parallel the Panama Canal and provide competition. A huge investment there, going in and reaching out to Venezuela. Other investments, coming up with a trade agreement in Central America. China's on the move, and again, why? What we're hearing all the time. They're on the move because what they're seeing is a vacuum of global leadership, a place that used to be occupied by the United States.
Only a minute remains, and Venezuela's president not only went to China, he apparently also showed up in Russia. Can we expect Putin to try and turn Venezuela into one of his playgrounds? 45 seconds.
Well, I think it already has been a playground for Russia. It's been a playground for Iran and other groups, for Hezbollah and those types of things. Of course, they are going to go in and they're going to use this. Our enemies are going to use this as an opportunity to go in and take more advantage of a willing co-conspirator in Venezuela. You're going to see much more of this as this administration continues to retrench on American global leadership.
Pete Hoekstra, former chairman of the House Select Committee on Intelligence. My old congressional colleague, sir, we thank you for this morning's intelligence briefing. Now, some personal intelligence in terms of your own viewing habits. We want to take a minute to welcome in viewers on Dish Network. A reminder, we're now broadcasting on Dish on 2 channels, channels 206 and 223. Our main channel on Dish, where you can catch us 24/7, is channel 223. And if you happen to be a DirecTV viewer, you can watch us there on channel 349. Also for you today, a poll question. Do you believe President Obama is handling the threat of Islamic terrorism properly? To vote in our poll, go to the website newsmax.com/poll. That's newsmax.com/poll. Coming up, Craig Shirley joining us to talk about the perception of America and security concerns after the French terror attacks. He'll also talk GOP politics, specifically Jeb Bush versus Mitt Romney. There's more ahead. Stay tuned.